If you have woken up jittery and a little bit all over the place, we need to burn that energy off before you can have a productive day. This sequence is filled with sun salutations and twists and forward folds. Afterward, you will feel less jittery and more ready, but not tired. We begin by reaching our hands up, coming into a forward fold and a little lift. This is sun salutation A, so I want you to step back into plank, come into chaturanga, upward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. We're only going to take one breath here before we jump back up into forward fold, do a little lift, and then hands all the way up. We immediately go again, so hands up overhead, and then forward fold, do a halfway lift, step back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, one full breath cycle here. And then you jump back up into forward fold, little lift, and reach your hands all the way up overhead. And we go again 3 more times. Reach your arms up on an inhale, exhale to forward fold, inhale to a little lift, and then exhale down to chaturanga, inhale upward facing dog, and exhale downward facing dog. Full breath cycles, so breathe in and breathe out, and then jump up to forward fold, breathe out to fold, breathe in for arms overhead, and breathe out for mountain pose. Arms up overhead again, we dive forward to forward fold, do a halfway lift, and jump back to chaturanga. Upward facing dog on an inhale, downward facing dog on an exhale, and full breath cycle in and out, jump up to forward fold, and reach your arms up overhead and back to mountain pose. Okay, last one, so breathe in, arms up overhead, fold forward, do a halfway lift, step back into plank or jump back if you like, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, full breath cycle, forward fold, arms up overhead, and down to mountain pose. Take a moment to catch your breath before we move into sun salutation B. For B, we start by reaching our hands up and sinking our hips back into chair pose. Then we forward fold again, do a little lift, jump back to chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Then push your hands into the mat and step your right foot forward, arms up for warrior 1. Immediately frame your front foot and step back into plank, up to upward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. Push away from the floor and step your left foot in between your hands. Warrior 1, then frame your foot again. Chaturanga to upward facing dog, and then move back into downward facing dog for a breath cycle here. Really push away from the floor on your breath in, breathe out, and step forward into forward fold. Sink your hips back into chair pose and reach your arms up overhead. 2 more sun salutations, so lift your arms up overhead and sink your hips back to chair. Forward fold, do a halfway lift, step back into plank, then upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Now step your right foot in between your hands for warrior 1. Just a quick one, and then frame your foot with your hands again and step back into plank, upward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. Now step your left foot in between your hands for a quick warrior 1 on the other side. Breathe out as you step back into plank, and breathe in for upward facing dog, breathe out for downward facing dog. Let your head hang, deep breath in and deep breath out. Now step forward to forward fold and lift your arms up overhead as you sink your hips back and up to mountain pose. Arms up, sink your hips back, and then forward fold, halfway lift, step back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and then step your right foot in between your hands and come up to warrior 1. Then frame your foot and step back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your left foot in between your hands for warrior 1. Frame your foot and step back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog for a full breath cycle. Good job. This was the last one. Sink your hips back and come up into mountain pose. We're now warmed up and coming into seated position, so arms reach overhead. We fold forward, do a little lift, step back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, to downward facing dog. Push your hands into the mat here, look up, and then come through to seated. Now bend your right knee and place the sole of your right foot to the inner left thigh. Hinge forward from the hip and grab onto wherever feels comfortable, if it's the foot or if it's the leg or if it's just leaning your hands on the floor. Think more about reaching your chest forward than trying to push yourself downward. So just reach yourself forward and breathe in deeply and breathe out, and just take this moment to relax into your joints. Come up on a breath in and step yourself back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. Now you're going to push into the mat and step through to seated. So you're going to place the left sole on the right inner thigh and grab onto wherever feels comfortable as you're hinging forward from the hip. Aim your chest forward and just relax for a little bit. Breathe in and come up. So you cross your legs and you jump back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and then cross your legs and jump through the seated. Switch position so you're facing sideways on the mat and can stretch out your right leg beside you. Place your right elbow on the floor right in front of your right knee. Grab a hold of your toes and then sweep your left arm up and overhead to reach the other side of the foot, so the underside of the foot. You should feel a deep stretch on the left side and also on the inner thigh on the right leg. So just breathe deep here. That's part of the challenge because your space to breathe has been constricted. Make your way back to plank, however you decide to do that is your choice. And then upward facing dog, back to downward facing dog, and then look up, cross your legs as you jump forward to seated. Then go back to face sideways on the mat again, and this time you stretch out your left leg beside you and you fold your right leg in towards you, and then you place your left elbow on the mat right in front of the left knee. Grab your toes and sweep your right arm overhead to grab the underside of your foot for that deep stretch on the right side. And just breathe and chill. On your next inhale, you can let go and come up. Make your way back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. Look up on an inhale and jump through to seated. Now bend your left knee and place the sole of your left foot on the mat. Thread your right foot underneath your left knee and place the outside of your right elbow on the outside of your left knee and twist to the back of the mat. As you breathe in, you reach up through the crown of the head, and as you breathe out, you go deeper into the twist. On your next inhale, you can come out of the twist and move yourself back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and then you jump through to seated. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So place your right foot with the sole down on the floor, bending the knee. Cross the elbow over so that the outside of the left arm pushes against the outside of the right thigh and knee. Place your right hand behind you and breathe in as you reach up through the crown of the head and breathe out as you go deeper into the twist. Back to plank we go. Then we move into chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. And we jump through to seated again. This time it helps if you have a couple socks laying around. So I'm just going to grab my trusty dusty sock over here and put it over my right shoulder. Just going to leave it there for now. It will come in handy later. So what I want you to do now is bend your left knee and put the foot on the outside of the right hip. And then you bend the right knee, placing it on top of the left knee with the right foot outside of the left hip. And this is a perfectly good place to stay for a little bit if you like, or you can join me in doing tricks with this sock. If you feel like taking on a challenge, what you can do is to bend the left arm behind your back, grabbing hold of the sock. If you feel ready for it, you can also skip the sock and just grab onto your hands behind your back. Breathe deep and make sure to keep your shoulders away from your ears. Now you can release this grip. We're going to move back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog and downward facing dog at your pace. Then we jump through to seated and we sit back down, and we're going to do the other side. So this time place the sock on your left shoulder and bend your right knee underneath yourself. And then place the left knee on top of the right knee so that their feet are splayed out to each side of you. And you can stay here if you feel like this is enough for you. But if you want to join me in doing the full bind, you lift your arms up overhead and then you bend your left arm behind your back and your right arm behind your shoulder, grabbing onto each side of the sock. And depending on how you slept, it can take some shifting to get comfortable here, but just keep fidgeting until you got it. Now you can release that and you can start to crisscross your arms in front of you. Just wave them back and forth. Now turn on your mat again so that your feet are facing the front of the mat, but you're still sitting down on your butt. Now place your hands about a step behind you. Your fingertips can point whichever way feels comfortable. And lean your head back and really just let it hang here. That's it for this practice. I hope it helped you get rid of some of that energy and that it primed you to have a really amazing day. See you in the next one.